Here's a harsh truth. 95% of creatives accept unpaid revisions that quietly chip away at their income. This single mistake costs the average freelancer over $10,000 by year's end. That's real money left on the table every month because you delay putting one simple system in place. Let's stop that pattern right now. I'll show you the one document that protects your profit and, more importantly, your peace of mind. Before we dive in, I want to be crystal clear. I'm a financial educator, not a licensed financial advisor. The ideas we talk about here are for educational purposes, to help you build awareness and ask better questions. This isn't personalized financial advice, so please always consult with a qualified professional for your unique situation. Okay, let's get into it. At the heart of this problem is a conflict that lives inside so many of us. It's the quiet battle between the artist and the entrepreneur. As creators, we pour our identity, our vulnerability, and our passion into what we make. It's deeply personal. So when it comes time to discuss money, scope, and deadlines, it can feel transactional. It feels like we're putting a price tag on a piece of our soul, and that discomfort is a powerful force that works against us. This is where the undervaluing begins. Because we want to avoid that feeling, we sidestep the difficult conversations. We might lower our price just to secure the project without a negotiation. We accept vague requests because setting firm boundaries feels rigid and uncreative. We say yes to one more change and then another because our deep-seated need for our art to be loved overrides our business need for the project to be profitable. We treat the work like a personal relationship built on goodwill, when it's also a commercial agreement that requires clarity. We end up absorbing the financial risk of a project's ambiguity, all because we haven't reconciled the art with the commerce. But what if there was a way to honor both? What if protecting your business didn't mean sacrificing your creative integrity, but actually strengthening it? How can we turn this point of conflict into a source of confidence, using a principle that has guided master craftspeople for centuries? That guiding principle is the turns clarity of value exchange. It's a simple but profound idea. A healthy professional relationship is built on a mutual, transparent understanding of what each person is giving and what each person is receiving. This isn't a cold, transactional mindset. It's a framework built on respect. It honors your client's investment by defining exactly the problem you will solve for them, and it honors your creative energy by defining the resources, the time, the effort, and the compensation you require to solve it effectively. This changes everything because it shifts the focus from your identity to your impact. You are no longer selling a piece of yourself. You are providing a valuable solution. Your photography isn't just pretty pictures. It's the visual identity that will help a small business attract its first 100 customers. Your writing isn't just words on a page. It's the clear, compelling story that will help a nonprofit secure a critical grant. When you frame the conversation around the value you create for them, the discussion about money and boundaries is no longer a personal negotiation about your worth. It becomes a collaborative, objective conversation about the investment required to achieve a shared goal. The entrepreneur and the artist stop fighting and start working together. This clarity protects both sides. For the client, it provides confidence. They know exactly what to expect, when to expect it, and what it will cost. There are no surprise invoices or missed deadlines. But for you, the creator, the value you receive is more than just the project fee. It's the respect for your process. It's the psychic relief of knowing precisely where a project begins and, just as importantly, where it ends. It's the professional authority that comes from setting clear expectations. Without this mutual understanding, ambiguity creeps in, and ambiguity almost always defaults in the client's favor, costing you time and money. This isn't sustainable. It leads to burnout, resentment, and creative fatigue. A clear value exchange is the bedrock of a long-term creative career. It's what allows you to pour your heart into your work without fearing that you'll be taken for granted. But I know that value exchange can still feel a little abstract, a little like business jargon. To make this principle tangible, let's use an analogy from a world we all understand intimately as craftspeople. Think of a master architect before they lay a single foundation stone. They don't just show up with a hammer and a hopeful vision, they present a blueprint. That blueprint is a profound act of communication. It's a detailed, visual agreement that translates a client's dream into a tangible plan. It defines the size of every room, the placement of every window, and the materials for every surface. The blueprint isn't a limitation on the architect's creativity, it's the very structure that makes creativity possible. It ensures that when the client asks, "Could we add a balcony here?" the conversation isn't about goodwill, it's a clear discussion about the blueprint, the budget, and the timeline. We as creators often try to build a house without the blueprint. We start mixing the concrete based on a vague conversation, hoping it all works out. We rely on our intuition and our desire to please, but we forget that a structure without a plan is fundamentally unstable. That instability is what leads to endless revisions, scope creep, and the slow erosion of our profit and passion. The document we're going to discuss is your blueprint. But a blueprint is just paper and ink if the architect doesn't believe in its value. So the real question is, what does it take to see yourself not just as the artist with the vision, but as the architect with the plan? It takes the decision to see yourself not as a Dia hired hand, but as a Bora trusted guide, Dia whole. This is the entire shift. A hired hand waits for instructions, hoping their goodwill will be enough to get them through the project. They react to uncertainty, absorbing the cost of a client's indecision because they fear that setting boundaries will make them seem difficult. But a trusted guide, the architect with the plan, does the opposite. They lead with confidence. They understand that clarity isn't a barrier to creativity, it is the path to it. This shift is an act of profound self-respect. You are the expert in your craft. You know what it takes to bring a vision to life, and it is your professional responsibility to guide your client through that process safely. This means you don't wait for them to ask the right questions. You proactively define the scope, the deliverables, and the rules of engagement. You aren't just providing a service. You are stewarding their investment and your own creative energy toward a successful, mutually agreed-upon outcome. You move from being a passenger in the project to being the pilot at the controls. So the core change is this. You move from seeking approval to providing professional leadership. Your confidence is no longer tethered to a client's satisfaction, but is anchored in the integrity of your process. Now that we've established this foundational mindset, let's break down the tool that brings it to life, the blueprint itself. And that's your blueprint. It isn't about being rigid. It's about being a responsible steward of your client's investment and your own creative spirit. This is the practical tool where the artist and the entrepreneur finally shake hands, turning vague goodwill into a concrete, collaborative plan. It's what protects you from that quiet drain of unpaid revisions and gives you the professional confidence to truly lead the creative process from a place of service, not fear. I'm curious to hear your story. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from a project that went forward without a clear plan? Let's share some of that hard-won wisdom in the comments below. And if you're committed to building a business that honors and sustains your art, hit that subscribe button. We have many more pieces of the blueprint to build together, and I'll be here to guide you.